Hi, good morning friends. This is yours Fanishwar sir. My dear friends, in this class I am going to discuss about the APPSC Group 1 Mains Economy paper. So Group 1 or UPSC any mains, that is the descriptive mode. So here APPSC Economy paper for mains, that is the unit 3. The name of the unit is budgetary resources or budget, nothing but it's the budget and budgetary resources. See, this is the previous question. I am taking the previous question for the year of 2025. So year of 2025, which is recently conducted APPSC examination. My dear friends, today in this session I will take one question and explain to you that question, how to write main examination, so this is the previous question. This question asked in 25, this is year 2025 year. So previous question, look here gentlemen, observe this question. Explain the major source of budgetary resources for Andhra Pradesh. Question asking on the budgetary resources of Andhra Pradesh. So what are the key challenges the state face? Key challenges the state face in the mobilizing adequate financial resources. Here question is mobilizing hindrances of the mobilizing the financial resources, adequate financial resources. When you observe the question, this question is two parts. Observe that question is two parts. First part is the explain the major sources of the budgetary resources for Andhra Pradesh. That is the part 1 of the question. Part 2 of the question, what are the key challenges that state face in the mobilizing the adequate financial resources. In your examination, you must think about that. When you observe that question, immediately you form the structure in your mind. That structure, what is right, what is the suitable answer for that question. You analyze this question. This is the two parts of the question. First part asking the resources of Andhra Pradesh, budgetary resources of Andhra Pradesh. The part 1 asking the budgetary resources of Andhra Pradesh, and part 2 asking the mobilizing the adequate financial resources, government facing the adequate financial, mobilizing the adequate financial resources, this two part. Immediately in your mind, one flow chart in your mind, so give the flow chart structure. Immediately in your mind form the flow chart. What is the flow chart means? How to write this flow chart means? So look here gentlemen, this is the flow chart for any question. You must maintain the flow chart for every question in your practice level also. Here the question asking on the budgetary resources. Question asking on the first part of the question asking on the budgetary resources. That's why you give the definition for budget. First of all, you write budget, because why we write budget? Why should we give the definition for the budget means here question asking on the budgetary resources. That's why you must define the budget, give the definition for the budget. This budget, this definition, budget definition, 1 to 1.5 mark we expected. 1 to 1.5 mark expected for that definition. See, particularly technical subjects like economy and S&T, etc., technical subjects, definitions, terminology is very, very important. Examiner impressed to definitions, terminologies. So here, the first one in this flow chart, you write the flow chart for the first definition. After that, budgetary resources, examiner asking these resources. That's why you form the how many budgetary resources for Andhra Pradesh, for Telangana, for India, etc. This is the completely same for Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and India also. So government budget resources. Budget, so two types of resources for any government, that is the revenue budget and capital budget. Revenue budget and capital budget. Then after that, revenue receipts. Revenue receipts are, so immediately tax revenue and non-tax revenue. Receipts means always incomes is nothing but of the receipts. Income of the government is nothing but of the receipts. So tax revenue and non-tax revenue. Then explain what is revenue tax and what is non-tax revenue. So I will explain all these things. But first of all, you observe the flow chart. After finishing of the flow chart, I will give the clear explanation for each everyone. So each everyone, after that, so after that, capital budgeting. So this capital budgeting is the one of the terminal. So capital budget. So you give the definition for the capital budget and give the number of types in that capital budget, the capital receipts and the capital expenditure. So write the definition for the capital receipts and capital expenditure. Then types of capital expenditures, two types of capital expenditure, planned capital expenditure and non-planned capital expenditure. So capital expenditure and non-planned capital expenditure. After that, just this is the only flow chart. This is only flow chart. Then first part is end. First part is over. Second part of the question, key challenges. So you write, you observe what are the key challenges facing the adequate funds. The part 2. So part 2 asking the key challenges, adequate key challenges facing the Andhra Pradesh government. Examiner asking that one. You observe that one. Revenue deficit is one of the key challenges. So after that, low tax base and poor tax collection in Andhra Pradesh. So high public debits. So over dependence on the central government funds. Over dependence on the central government funds. After that, subsidiary burden. So you write here completely government give all free, but all subsidiary. Rice is subsidiary, X is subsidiary, Y subsidiary, etc., etc. I will explain all which type of subsidiary is there. So the subsidiary is the burden of the government. That's why government facing the subsidiary for welfare schemes. You mentioned this, some names of the welfare schemes, etc., etc. And a lack of industrial diversification, lack of industrial diversification, and post bifurcation financial problems is there, that is known as the strains. After that, so public sector enterprises, these public sector sense insufficient public sector enterprises in Andhra Pradesh. You mentioned insufficient means what, why. So after that, limited capital and attractive. So there is no attractive private incomes and climatic vulnerability and natural disaster. These 10 are the, so you mentioned the 10 key challenges, 10 words for each one key challenge. Main question is key challenges. So for the facing the adequate funds of Andhra Pradesh, that is the main question. The first question is the basic question, that is the based on the terminological question. So this, when you write to the answer, immediately this type of flow chart form in your mind. This type of flow chart form in your mind. After that, you are implemented each every one and write each every answer. How to, so show in this. So after that, I am going to, so after that conclusion, I will explain conclusion what. So after that you write conclusion. What we write? Always in conclusion you write the positiveness. You build the positiveness of the question of the, your answer is one of the positive and hopeful to change of the government. We are hopeful to the development of the government, etc., etc. Do not critique any government activities, any persons in your answer, etc., etc. Any organizations, don't criticize. Conclusion means it is the balancing of the positive and negatives. Finally, you give the conclusion in positive method, in positive way. So I will go to explain the answer. Look at it one. The first part of the question, budgetary resources. that is the budget resources. So you observed here, first of all, define the budget, give the definition for the budget. Budgetary resources, conclusion after this is not this one. So budget. So give the definition for the budget. Generally, budget means what? Budget is the financial approach paper. It's one of the financial approach papers, mentioned expenditures, incomes and expenditures of the government in that budget paper. So upcoming years expected income of the government, expected expenditures of the government, that is known as the budget. So in our constitution means 112 article, in 112 article mentioned as a budget is a annually financial statement. In one word, this is the financial statement. Financial statement here, equivalence of the that is the incomes, and discuss about the incomes of the government and expenditures of the government, that is nothing but of the budget. But it is the one of the expected approach, it is the expected approach paper for the upcoming year, that is known as the financial year. So that's why you write simple definition, because why? Because here cannot asking the budget, here asking the budget resources. When you go to explain the budget resources, you must define the budget. But